I'm just going to start this recording here also on YouTube. Welcome. My name is Ailsa, and I'm happy to be talking to you today about the somatic way to approach working with anxiety. And why is this so important? Well, it's important because many of us that have been through whatever experiences we've been through in life, including the last couple of years in the world, has increased our anxiety levels tenfold. And for many of us that grew up potentially in dysfunctional households, or we've had abusive relationships, we may have accentuated or triggered a lot of our anxieties in the past couple of years. So I really wanted to talk about, what can we do about that? How can we, change this living in constant fear and anxiety that basically puts us into limbo. We can't do anything. We just become apathetic and, almost like impossible to move forward in our lives. And this is what I've noticed. And, I've heard a lot of people describing how they feel right now as being, just kind of uninterested. I can't get motivated. Nothing seems worth doing. And a lot of this actually comes from this innate sense of anxiety, this innate sense of fear of doom, that there's nothing worth doing because we're all doomed anyway. And a lot of us had, sort of smaller personal anxieties before we kind of got this global anxiety. And the thing with anxiety is it really goes beyond the cognitive mind. Like, it doesn't make sense in that way. It's like this tension in your belly or your shoulders, or just like your palms get sweaty, or your jaw gets tight, or just you kind of check out and you kind of get this brain fog. You can't feel or think anything. And so the anxiety that comes up, it just like stops us sleeping. It stops us thinking about anything else. We feel like we're on a treadmill of like doom and gloom thoughts, or we start kind of doing things like compulsively, cleaning or whatever maybe you eat to numb yourself. Then all of these addictive behaviors come in from the anxiety. So it really is important to look at. And many therapeutic approaches really focus on talking your way through this, which to a certain extent, I'm not against talk therapy. Of course, it has its place. But when you really touch in on these anxieties, they don't make sense. There's nothing to talk about because there's no kind of consistent narrative memory of why we feel anxious. We just know that we feel anxious. And, we kind of get these panic attacks, or, we have these kind of underlying feeling of every time I try to go to work or every time I'm going to sleep, I just get anxious. And so these types of things are worth noting actually reside in the body and in our implicit memories. And implicit memories are ones that don't have a narrative timeline along with it. They're just a sensory or potentially an emotional state that we remember feeling in our body. So it could be something like, when someone holds you, your partner or someone you love, like holds you in a certain way, you kind of have this implicit memory of this feels safe, or feels like how I was held when I was born. We kind of have this implicit memory of potentially safety there. You might have a sense that, going to bed alone, you get this kind of dread or anxiety potentially. Going to bed alone wasn't safe in your house when you were a kid. And so that anxiety about going to bed alone stays with you in your adult life. So some of these kind of implicit memories, we don't know why necessarily. We might not put it all together, but it's kind of in the body. And these somatic sensations, somatic kind of awarenesses, do end up making our sense of self. We have a sense of ourself as beings that have these perceptions of the world. And if you perceive that the world is not safe, or that, a certain gender, like if I'm a woman and I feel that men are not safe, there's no particular reason why this man in front of me isn't safe. But if I have that sense that there's an anxiety, there's kind of an underlying sense that men are unsafe because of something, implicitly in my past, I might not even remember, wasn't safe, and then I kind of project that out into the world, and it becomes my reality, because in a way I'm just looking for those proofs that my reality that I have inside matches. Like, why do I feel anxious? Well, it must be that something out there isn't safe, So this sense of self and the anxiety kind of dictates what we're looking for in the world, which is interesting, right? Because if we are looking for goodness in the world, we'll probably see it. If we're looking for bad things in the world, we'll probably see it. The interesting thing that when I work with clients, particularly those that have had abusive relationships, often we are either on one extreme or the other. We're either really idealistic and always looking for really good things out there, and then we see only that, or we're always looking for the bad things and we never really can get proper relationships because we're just always seeing the bad things. And one of the biggest kind of aha moments comes when we come to that awareness in our bodies and in our life that it's all of the above, right? There's good and bad, there's a mixture of this and that, and we can actually stay present to the sensory awareness and to our bodies and to our breath and to the actual reality of what's in front of us, which is complex and nuanced and all the good and bad things. As we know, we're not black or white, right? The world is a myriad of grays, and many of us find it safer to kind of take refuge in a black or white version, and I might talk about that in another video, but it goes along with the anxiety of this. So it's interesting. So your body is this alive, dynamic organism that we're actually designed to think and feel and do things all at the same time. And that gives us our unique experience of being alive. We're, these kind of beings that do all these things. And our authentic self finds expression. So you can start to see how this comes to creativity. So when we're feeling anxious, we kind of are shutting down and putting in a box our authentic self in a way. We're kind of managing things so that we, managing our anxiety so we don't go into overwhelm. But in so doing, we're kind of managing our life into a smaller and smaller box. And many of us have that kind of feeling of like being in a box, and then, it's easy to just blame the outside world and say it's not safe for me, therefore the world is wrong. But it's not that we're wrong, it's just we need to grow and change and nurture ourselves and help to work through these implicit memories and find a safe place to kind of nurture ourselves into, responsibility, to adulthood, to feeling safe enough to become our creative self. It's not victim blaming at all. It's not saying we're bad people, because we're not there yet. We all start off with these childhood experiences, and some of us have worse implicit memories than others, worse memories of childhood, worse experiences. Sometimes it's not even really horrible things. It's just, if you were a super sensitive child, having an autistic brother could have been overwhelming for you, doing certain things like loudly or, screaming or whatever, that could have been overwhelming for you as a child. Doesn't necessarily mean that there was any overt abuse even happening, although that could also be the case. But we kind of lose this sense of joy, this creativity, this hope and courage, grace, resilience, all of these things that when I talk to women about working with me, or talk to men too and other genders, we talk about what do you want, and there's a lot about I want to feel hope again. I want to feel courageous about being myself. I want to feel joyful, at peace. I want to feel that grace comes into my life. So, there's all of these aspects of working through this anxiety. And so the way to work with this anxiety that's so deeply ingrained in our body is to actually enlist our body's help with this. So the reason I do somatic work with people is that soma means working with the living body, and we're integrating the mind, the spirit, the body on all levels. So we'll do a little exercise here together this morning, just to get a sense of what this might look like. So imagine well, you don't have to imagine, just feel into your body right now and notice where your awareness is. Is it in your eyes, kind of watching my video here? Is it in your belly because you just had a big meal and you're kind of feeling heavy? Is it in your pelvis? Maybe you have to go pee. Notice where your attention goes. And if you want to close your eyes to do that, you can. I was noticing I was very much up in my head because I'm doing a video here for you all. But I'm also aware of having eaten recently and something still kind of sitting about here that was a bit heavy, what I just ate maybe. And I'm also noticing some tension in my legs because I kind of prop my toes up when I sit at my desk chair sometimes. So I'm noticing that my legs are kind of tense. So I'm putting my feet flat on the floor. So if you notice that your legs are tense, maybe find a comfortable seating position where your feet can actually rest on the floor and see how that feels. Feels a bit better for me. So what I'm noticing now is, I'm feeling a little bit more grounded. I'm sitting up straight. My feet are connecting to the floor. And I already feel better. I feel like my energy, my awareness has kind of dropped more into my body just from that going, I've got a body. Let me drop my awareness in. And you might even want to move your body a little bit, because this is another way that we get awareness of where we are in space. So even just roll your shoulders a little bit. And just kind of notice, like I can feel the shoulder blades on my back, maybe a little crunchy. I can feel, one shoulder's a little tight, maybe from my yoga yesterday. I feel that my neck wants to get involved, and I maybe want to stretch my back out. We start to become aware of what's happening in our body. Okay, now here's the really interesting thing. What do you notice now about your awareness? Were you aware of being anxious in those couple minutes where we were thinking about our body and our feet and our breath and our shoulders? I wasn't. I was kind of fully engaged with, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? So herein lies the magic. When I pay attention to my body and what I'm feeling, and I actually bring my awareness down into it and, try some different things, I can't stay worried. I can't stay in the anxiety, because the anxiety is about the past possibly affecting my future, and my mind is like going zzz between the past and the future and not ever dropping into the present moment. But as soon as I take a breath and I'm like, okay, let me just take a breath out. Let me roll my shoulders. That's a little tight, As soon as I do that, I'm taking some or all of my awareness away from this past, future, like highway, super highway in my mind, and bringing it into the present moment. And that's worth a big sigh right there. And as soon as you take that big sigh, I let go of about 3 notches of my anxiety, and I'm just like, okay, I can see where I am right now. And that is the beginning of how we start bringing somatic awareness into the present moment. From this place of being more aware, I have much more choice about how I'm going to react or respond to things in my environment. If my kid calls and they need me to do something, if there's a siren outside, if I have to go to work, all of these external things now I'm dealing with from a very different place. If I've just dropped into my body, I'm like, okay, I can do this, I'm here, I'm present, there's a siren. well, I'll wait till it passes and then I'll make sure I drive to work a different way, or I'll call my mom to make sure they're okay, or whatever it is. But I have choice around that. Same as, if I choose to pick up the phone, if I choose to go out, now I'm kind of finding, okay, I have a choice here. I'm not just on this like super highway of anxiety and not able to do anything at all. So therein lies the trick. Honestly, that is the foundation of all somatic work. And you might go, well, why does anybody pay for this kind of work? Well, you pay someone to help you with this, the same as you'd pay a therapist to talk through. You pay a somatic therapist to help you engage your body in different ways, to expand your vocabulary with your body, to work more on creating the kind of life, the kind of experiences you want to have, to help you when you get stuck. Like if there's little places where traumas or physical tightness is stuck, and you might want someone to kind of help work with that, with you. We are ostensibly social beings, and we do actually work much better, or really relationally, it is imperative that we have a relationship in order to see ourselves. So sometimes you pay a therapist or a coach just to see yourself, to have someone to reflect for you. And if you have a professional working with you, they have some awareness of not triggering or putting themselves in the picture as much as you might have in a personal, intimate relationship where, we come together with somebody and trigger everything about each other. And that's kind of how relationships work. But a professional will have some sense of that and be able to modulate their own input into that relationship, so that you can have more of the space of the dynamic there between you. And so that can help you practice. One of the main things I say to people that I work with is, we're practicing how to stay in your body and tell me what you're feeling, how to stay in your body and tell me what you want and desire, how to stay in your body and tell me what your emotions are, what your fears are, and how to stay in your body and ask for what kind of support you need. Like, all of those things are skills that we practice as we stay present in our bodies. So that's why there's a lot of nuance obviously there that is absolutely worth paying somebody good to work with you. So if that's, but ostensibly it's very simple. And I know many of you are kind of do-it-yourselfers. And I would say to that go ahead and work on this somatic awareness. You'll be shocked at how much you can actually work with yourself. And when you get to those places where you're having issues, check in with yourself and see if you're blocking yourself from asking for help, or if you're blocking yourself from having a relationship because there's that one little piece of fear or anxiety around, what if I actually was in relationship with somebody, even if it was a therapist, and what if they reject me? If there's a fear that you're not touching with your practice. So by all means, take this somatic practice and work with it yourself. But really check in with yourself if and when you need support, that you're not denying yourself that trying to do everything yourself. We are, like I said, our self is built on relationship as well. It's important in our human experience to have that. So, don't deny yourself that opportunity. I offer work as well, so you can always hit me up and private message me, or we'll hop on a call. I do free calls first to just see if we're a good fit to work with, if we have, if I can help you with your goals. And if not, I'll try and sort of direct you to some possible answers for where you're going with your journey. But absolutely, nothing is rocket science. And so, try this out today and see what you think. And let me know in the comments how that worked for you. What did you notice when you just took that couple of minutes and became aware of your body after watching, in your mind, kind of thinking about anxiety or watching a video? What was the difference for you? I would love to hear your comments. And I hope to potentially talk or work with you if that calls to you in the future. You can find more about me if you go to ailsakeppie.com, AILSAKEPPIE.com. You'll see how to get to all my different websites and trainings from there. That's a good place to start. I have blogs and podcasts there. There's videos on my YouTube channel and also in my Facebook group, Women Healing from Emotional Abuse with Power, Passion, and Pleasure. So please look me up, stay in touch, and I will talk to you all soon.